Hey, are you concerned about protecting that brand new pretty sled that you just got? Here's the solution. Use SledSend24 for a 15% off discount code on some backwoods bumpers, the industry leader in performance protection.
SledSend listeners, thank you guys for tuning in. We are back at Heyday still, so don't mind the side-by-side noise in the background. We're in the tent set up and filming some more episodes. So be sure to check the links in the description. We got all kinds of sponsors and discounts and stuff going on in there. And without further ado, Kobe's back on this one as well. And we have a super special guest on this episode. We have the owner and the founder of TOBE. Thomas, how are you?
I am well. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad that you're here. So you were just telling Kobe this is like your third time to Heydays?
Yeah, this is my third time.
Okay.
Came 2012 first time.
Okay.
And just as a visitor.
Yep.
And the next time was must have been prior to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Just checking things out to come back the year after, which I was planning on. But yeah. Now,
Gotcha.
third time.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, Thomas, let's talk a little bit about, first of all, where are you from?
So, I'm from Sweden.
Yeah.
Halfway up in Sweden, northern Sweden. I grew up in a tiny little village. This is still my home village.
Okay.
I'm born on this little farm.
Yeah.
We don't have animals anymore, so I converted the old barn into the headquarters for TOBE.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I got good snowmobiling like right outside my window.
Okay.
And this little village also had a tiny little ski hill owned by the community, or, well, the village. So that was, like, all these things were very influential for me, like skiing, snowmobiling, and living in, well, the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So as a kid, you were introduced to that from the very beginning, pretty
absolutely.
much?
I'm not from a snowmobiling family.
Okay.
My parents were big skiers.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what they taught me. And snowmobiling was something that I got into by myself together with my younger brother. And it became a very important part of my life, basically.
Sure.
How old were you when you got into snowmobiling with your brother?
I mean, I since the family didn't have snowmobiles and it wasn't like a thing.
Yeah.
I bought my first snowmobile when I was 16 after planting trees for a summer.
Yeah.
And saving up. So yeah, bought my
Nice.
first sled at 16 and realized this is the most fun that I ever had and want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. That's usually how that happens, right?
You're darn right. You're hooked. What was your first sled?
My first sled was, let me think. It was a Lynx.
Okay.
So you guys just have Lynx.
Yeah, we just got introduced to them lately.
Just the last couple years.
Yeah.
You just brought them in.
So it's a European brand and they've been around, and this is probably this sled that I had was probably manufactured even before BRP came in and bought them.
Okay.
So they bought them sometime in the 90s. I can't remember when. And so my first sled was a Lynx 3800 Rave. It had the Rotax engine. It was a 583.
Nice.
It was a huge, heavy sled. The chassis was made out of steel, and it was built for the snowcross track.
Okay.
Very cool sled.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like
Nice.
high tech.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So then what's been your journey in sleds, I guess? Go ahead and fill me in on that.
So as a teenager, my thing was working the summers, usually planting trees, and then trying to get a better sled for the next winter. And I stayed with Lynx for a long time. They were built tough. Like they came from the racetrack, and that's all they did. Like backcountry snowmobiling didn't really exist in the same way either.
Yeah.
So I stayed with Lynx for 5-6 years. I can't remember. Different kinds of Lynx sleds, and you wouldn't know the models, I guess, but different kind of race sleds.
Gotcha.
With Rotax engines.
So I guess at this time, what were you doing with, what kind of riding were you doing?
Yeah, what kind of terrain was in your backyard?
Yeah, you said you lived really close to riding, right?
Yeah, so Sweden is kind of interesting that way. It is much smaller place, and but it's the same kind of deal where, as here, like you start in the more flat terrain as here in Minnesota, and then you get into the mountains, and it kind of gets steeper and steeper.
Okay.
Sweden is divided by a mountain. Well, Sweden and Norway is divided by a mountain range. So if you're on the east side of the country, it's more flat and trees, and then the closer you get to Norway, the steeper it gets. So we have a mix of trail riding and mountain riding. And I grew up like kind of in the middle of this. I have to drive 1 or 2 hours to get into the mountains. And right where I live, there's a bunch of trees and lakes and the good trail riding and lots of things to explore.
Okay.
So, and when mind you, this is in the 90s. We didn't have like really cool mountain sleds either.
Yep.
So what I was doing was basically very like aggressive trail riding and building kickers and playing on racetracks and lots of that.
Okay.
Nice. What are you riding today?
So I've been with Polaris for many years now, but I have to say that I'm not loyal, brand loyal that way.
Okay.
Love my Polaris right now, but if someone else comes out with something that rides better and I like it better, then
sure.
have no second thoughts.
When did you do the switch from Lynx?
So that happened. The switch from Lynx happened. It must have been around when the Rev came out. So the Rev was one of those things that really changed not just riding for me, but the whole snowmobile industry.
Yeah.
This is when people actually started hitting big jumps in the backcountry, and things got really crazy there, like up in Alaska, and a lot of the movies that came out during 2003, 2004, 5, and 6, like they were shot in the United States, in Alaska, in Canada, and also in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
So it kind of changed everything to me. So the Rev was important for me.
Nice.
Gotcha.
So you went from Lynx to Ski-Doo and then Ski-Doo to Polaris?
Yes, exactly. Once I got into, once I started buying mountain sleds, I guess I've been with Polaris.
Have you ever owned any other Arctic Cat or Yamaha?
Oh yeah, I owned Arctic. I owned everything. I even had a turbo Yamaha for a while.
Oh yeah,
nice.
It didn't last that long.
I
had one.
Yeah,
it didn't last very long.
That's funny. Kind of a side note. So I have family in Copenhagen, and I've been there twice. And one time we drove over. It was wild. It was like a tunnel underneath the ocean, and we came out in. Probably pronounce it wrong, but Malmo.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how far north are you from that? Quite a ways, or?
Yeah, I would be probably 12 hours north of
wow.
Malmö.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah.
Gotcha. And so I've talked on Instagram and stuff to some riders, Sweden and Norway and stuff, and some guy was, maybe you can speak to it a little bit more, but something like Norway is like way more strict when it comes to snowmobile stuff versus Sweden. So what is that about? Or
I mean, the reasons, the Norwegians have a very close relationship to hiking.
Okay.
Like it's part of the
Culture.
The culture, yes,
Okay.
exactly. So they're very cautious about their mountains and it being quiet. So hiking and cross-country skiing is huge.
okay, gotcha.
But they love snowmobiling, but they go to Sweden for that.
For that, yeah.
So most places in Norway is going to be a couple of hours away from Sweden, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
But that's not the whole story. Like there is a lot of snowmobiling going on in Norway, but it's like no one talks about it. Because there are places where it's actually a long drive to get to Sweden, and they still sell a lot of snowmobiles.
Gotcha.
So
It's there somewhere.
Yeah, they're
you
doing
just-
something.
Yeah, you just take one single track, leaving the parking lot, and then you have some fun.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. Did you have any more snowmobile specific questions before we get into the gear and the founding?
I love talking about this, by the way.
I love talking about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
What, when did you first come to the U.S. to ride?
My first time in the U.S. to ride was in 2003.
And what brought you over? How'd you get over here to do that? Or what sparked that idea?
2002. Well, could have been 2004. Anyway, I met with. So there was a movie company called Alticity out of Idaho Falls, and they did a world tour, a small world tour, which brought them to Sweden. Okay. And we hung out, had some beers, and started talking, and got invited over the year after. So that was my first time.
Nice. Okay.
And so you rode Idaho Falls, or?
Yes, we came to Idaho Falls, and was extremely well taken care of, super friendly people, and they showed me around, and I was in heaven, basically.
It's a good first place to go, good state to visit, too.
Absolutely.
Idaho's cool.
It is.
What do you think of the U.S. riding versus your back home riding? And are you into more mountain riding now than you used to be, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, I have to say that I've been in Minnesota once for a trail ride.
Okay.
So that was a big experience. Trail riding in that sense doesn't really exist back home. Like, we have trails, but it's not organized in the same way, and there's really no culture around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the same sense, there's no bars that you go bar hopping in between. And, well, trails aren't groomed in the same way. It's more of it looks like a racetrack.
Or just a free for all.
Yes. Yeah. So mountain riding is definitely what I'm into and what I do and what I kind of built my career upon.
Yeah.
And the difference is, mountains are higher to start with, so and snow is deeper, and the snow is different setup.
Here or there?
Here.
Yeah.
Here.
In general, yes.
Yeah.
Like, the Rockies is much bigger than the mountain range between Sweden and Norway. Like,
gotcha.
It's way different.
Yeah.
But tree riding is kind of technical and super exciting, and a lot of it resembles of what I ride in Colorado, for example.
Yeah.
So, it's steeper, it's higher, it's bigger, but the riding itself is very similar in terms of tree riding. Then, since we're so far up north, like, nothing really grows at altitude.
Yeah, sure.
So even if the mountains are much lower, our trees stop growing at below 1,000 meters, whatever. That's like 3,000 feet, something.
Yeah.
So there's no trees above 3,000 feet. So our alpines are very accessible and have a ton of features. And so I want to say our spring riding especially is epic.
Yeah.
And goes on from May and then all the way through June sometimes.
That'd be super ideal for Jeff. He doesn't like trees. He's scared of them.
He doesn't like the trees. Well, you have to go around them. That's the secret.
That's the hard part.
That is the hard part. Yeah, I wasn't very good at it in the beginning.
Is Sweden populated, like, riding wise? Like, up there in those alpines, do you like bust out open, and is it
You see a ton of other riders everywhere, or?
It is well, we have a population of 10 million people. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's a fairly big country, so it's not populated in that sense. I want to say that snowmobiling in Sweden has gravitated towards mountain riding almost exclusively. Mm-hmm. That's an exaggeration. How do you pronounce that? Exaggerate.
Yeah, exciting. Exciting.
But definitely, let's say that 80% of the snowmobiling that happens on, like, modern new snowmobiles is going to be mountain riding. So there's definitely more people now than it used to be. When I got into it, like, we never saw anyone. Now it's definitely more tracked out.
Sure.
But it's not a big issue to find, like, good on-track terrain.
You can go find new stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
10-4.
Nice. Nice.
I'm done with the questions on that. You can hop
on
on
stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So let's kind of transition over into the founding of TOBE. So how did that all come about? How did you come up with the idea or the desire to start creating gear? What was the beginning of that story?
Well, I am absolutely not a designer.
Okay.
And I have no training whatsoever in manufacturing of garments.
Okay.
So I'm a trader. I'm a welder by trade.
Okay.
That's my education, and that's
Got it.
what I started doing. I had a company for, we were basically maintaining sawmills and fixing broken machinery.
Okay.
And I also wanted to get into the snowmobile industry some way, because I figured I'm better off paying for my snowmobiling with my company money than out of my pocket. So I needed to come up with
That's
a
why I
product.
created this.
Yeah, I figured that's
Yeah.
I bet that's how everyone here at
Yep.
Hades got into
Sure.
it in the first place.
Sure. Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, I did that. I wanted to come up with something that would justify owning a snowmobile on the company and paying for that. And so my first products were actually running board reinforcements, like what do you call it, to avoid slipping on your running board.
Yep.
Okay.
Like
Yep.
Snowmobiles
For
in the
traction
90s.
Traction grips
Yes,
or something.
exactly. Snowmobiles in the 90s did not have that.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were horrible.
slippery. Oh yeah. So my first product was that, and then I made brake levers. I made all kinds of reinforcement parts for snowmobiles.
Okay.
And then created a website for that to promote it, and started printing some T-shirts to promote it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember who suggested it and kind of how I got introduced into the idea of making more like actual outerwear.
Yeah.
But somehow that happened, and I just happened to live close to a town where a lot of people ended up, or how do you say that? They come from the outdoor industry, or they are active in the outdoor industry with being designers and seamstresses and people that are knowledgeable in manufacturing. And they kind of brought me in and introduced me to this whole network of people that knew all the things that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at the time, it was such a long time ago. All right, so at
Trip
the time,
down memory lane.
but the coolest thing you could wear as a snowmobiler back then were like motocross pants, like shift motocross pants.
Okay.
Like this is what the cool guys in the early Slednex movies wore.
Yeah.
So everyone was really like inspired by that, but obviously motocross gear doesn't really work well for snowmobiling.
Sure. Yeah.
So my ambition was to make something that looked cool but performed for snowmobiling.
Okay.
Yep.
So and my background as a skier also played in. So it led to the idea of basically make snowmobile wear that it would have like the colors and the fashion trends out of the outdoor industry rather than the motorsport industry, but perform as snowmobile garments or
Got it.
snowmobile apparel.
So you're trying to combine the two, more or less.
Yeah, I was trying to combine the two.
So about what year?
This is in 2001.
2001. Okay.
Yeah, I was 22 years old,
Okay. Wow.
and yeah, it was fun.
Wow, that's cool.
Good spot. So when you first started it, was it mainly in Sweden over there, or had you brought it over to the U.S. at all? Or?
Hey, what's up, guys? I want to take a quick second to introduce another one of this year's sponsors. We have RSI. So the handlebar setup on your sled is arguably probably one of the most important components on your whole setup. So definitely check out their site. They've got a ton of different products, and use SledSend 24 at checkout for a discount.
I mean, yes, definitely in Sweden to begin with, like that. You know, you have to start with where you live.
Yep.
And that trip over to Idaho in 2003, or was it 2004? That obviously that was my way of starting to introduce this to a larger market. And then when it hasn't been it's been a very, how do you say, winding road or crooked way.
Lots of ups and downs. Yeah.
Lots of ups and downs,
Yeah.
definitely. Lots of different business partners, and trying to figure things out. It's also a different market, different world, different culture, and trying to navigate that with the limited knowledge that I had was difficult.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I could imagine.
So having some team members and people that knew, had some of that knowledge on some of those outside things was very beneficial to you to get in that circle of people that had a more expanded knowledge on certain things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's changed a little bit now, but when I came over backcountry snowmobiling in Scandinavia is, and certainly was, a very young sport.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I was, as a 22, 25-year-old, I was like one of the older guys.
Okay.
Oh, dang.
So I mean, for us, our first product were, when I say outdoor, they were gravitating more towards like the snowboard style look, like baggy jeans and definitely a younger look. And when I brought that over to the United States the first time, and I realized that the market looked differently. Like the people that I went out riding with that first time in Idaho, they were like as old as my dad.
Yeah.
And like they're not into the same things as I am. Like here's me with my waterproof baggy jeans. Like
They're into blue jeans and bibs.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that was a learning experience. Although I didn't realize it until like after, when people wouldn't buy my pants.
Yeah. Sure.
You're like, what about all the old guys? They're not buying it. What's going on here?
Yeah, like what are they even doing here? Like, aren't they supposed to be at home? And just, oh my God! And now I'm that guy.
It came full circle, huh?
Now I'm that guy.
Nice.
It's terrible.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy doing business in Sweden or the U.S. more? Or is there any pros and cons to doing business in both countries? Or
Well, the snowmobile industry, despite the fact that we're so different, we believe that we're similar, and we are very similar, but we're also very different. The snowmobile industry in general, like the same people, I meet the same people everywhere.
Yeah.
So like, our rednecks are the same as your rednecks. And
Got it.
that's something that I learned to appreciate.
Okay. Yeah.
Business culture is slightly different.
Yeah.
But again, the snowmobile industry is kind of similar.
Sure.
So I don't know. I mean, I enjoy all of it.
Yeah.
I love being here, and just the market being so much bigger is obviously very interesting, and
Yeah.
it offers more opportunities.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how long were you running the company before you broke into other countries? Like how long were you in Sweden before you broke into the U.S. or Canada? Or
Well, I mean,
how did that all?
to the degree that we can talk about 2004 as breaking in on the North American market, I guess that was the point when we did that.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we got in on with a couple of dealerships in both Canada and the United States, and kind of used that as our foundation to grow. And
Did you have a pretty good blow up when you came to the U.S. or
I
It
would
take some time to get some traction, or
slow incline?
I mean, we had no, I didn't say. I can't say that we blow up as a brand to begin with. That took another couple of years, and it took a very special product for us to be recognized on this
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there a turning point one year where you were like, boom, all right, yeah, we're one of the top in the industry?
I mean, that happened gradually, to be honest. So the product that I mentioned in 2007 or 2008, more as a way of pissing people off, we designed a monosuit.
Yeah.
Because like, what can be more provocative than wearing a one-piece suit?
Yeah. Yeah,
to
sure.
a snowmobiler.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because that was fun.
Yeah.
So we did that, and people started buying it. They're like, why are you guys buying it? That's
Yeah.
weird. But
Yeah.
they did, and we gradually started to realize that this is actually a really cool product,
Yeah.
and there's a
It's coming back.
yeah, it's coming back.
Yeah.
So that was one of those things that changed the course of direction for us.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think the next one was in 2015. We opened up our Denver office,
Okay.
and also we redesigned most everything in our collection of products. We changed focus from, we moved away from the baggy jeans.
Yeah.
Went
Long
to
time
slim
before.
fit.
Yeah, I went to slim fit. We moved away from that long time before.
Yeah.
But in 2015, that was the launch of our basically the products that we carry today, where we emphasize quality and waterproofing, and we drastically changed everything internally in the company.
Sure.
We switched out all the suppliers. We went, quality became so much more important.
Got it.
Yeah.
And
Got it.
that the work of changing that, it started much earlier, but 2015 was when we launched the products.
Okay.
And at the same time opened up the Denver office and kind of made it a strategy to grow in the United States and Canada.
Gotcha. So what does back home when you're in the flow of running the company, what does your like day-to-day work look like? What are some of your day-to-day tasks that you manage the most?
Well, I mean that also changed a lot from having no people to having more people.
Yeah.
So it looks way different now than it did in the beginning.
Sure.
What I do, I look after our products and supervise our marketing, like how we approach the market with our brand.
Got it.
Sure.
And everything that goes into that.
Sure. Okay.
And then I try to ride as much as I possibly can.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
That's funny.
Yeah.
What do you think over these last couple decades? What has been the most challenging thing for you as a company to overcome? What's been the hardest, most difficult thing you've had to persevere through?
I think just the whole thing, to be honest with. You think of it, it's the snowmobile industry is not a huge industry. It is and it isn't. It's for us that lives inside it, for geographically me that lives in Sweden in an area where snowmobiling is huge, and it's the same thing in lots of places here. Locally, it's huge.
Yeah.
But it is a market where we had to expand into the entire world, which is Scandinavia and North America. Anyway, in this case, to expand into that huge market with a product that you have to design years before you can introduce it to a customer.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a process from designing to manufacturing to setting up a dealer network and taking care of that dealer network and being a tiny company still.
Yeah.
And looking after everyone, plus doing marketing and being everywhere.
Yeah.
If I had continued running my welding business, I sold off that company in 2008 to focus. But
Okay, nice.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that I would have made more money and been more successful just running the mechanical shop.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But
it wasn't your passion.
It was not my passion.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
Well, it is and it isn't. I enjoyed that as well. But I enjoyed this more. Wow, that's loud.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But it is.
It's all right. We're at 8 days. That's
part of it, I guess.
That's what's happening. So, how many employees does TOBE have worldwide?
We are about 20 people,
Okay.
spread out between Denver, Colorado, and Sweden.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
What does man, that's really loud.
Yeah, it is a hard cat.
What does I guess TOBE's 5 to 10 year plan? What's your next step look like?
Yeah, what's the future?
I mean, you've done a lot of work, it seems like, to get where you're at. Are you happy where you're at right here? You made it, or?
I mean, I'm happy with things the way they are, but I mean, obviously we were planning
pushing.
we're keep pushing, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we have pretty interesting thoughts and ideas around what to do in the summertime.
Okay.
I mean, the natural progression for most motorsport or snowmobile companies in the motorsport industry is looking at another motorsport in the summertime.
Yeah.
But we have a slightly different background, and I don't have a passion for motorcycles myself. I don't know anything about them, so I don't think that would be like an honest thing to do.
Got it. Okay.
But what I said about our rednecks being the same as your rednecks is I think that's there's a thought to that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I mean, I live in a remote place.
Yeah.
I've been working blue collar jobs my entire life. Like
Okay.
everyone I know works in blue collar. Living the way that I do and living the way a lot of our customers do require like good products for just the general life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing special, but just durable pants that you can wear around town, but you can also like throw yourself on the ground and fix something on your truck, or
Yeah.
take the kids out fishing for a couple of hours. Just
Right.
easygoing, good, everyday
Day-to-day
clothes.
stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of what we're working on, and that's going to be very exciting.
Heck yeah. When do you think those will be coming out or release? Any clue?
Well, in a way, it already has. I mean, it's trickling out.
Trickling.
We're not like doing a big launch. It's more of
Fair
we
enough.
make them available and we kind of let it grow organically.
Yep.
And people are starting to pay attention and notice, and
Yeah.
we're seeing more and more traction. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
Does TOBE still do any like accessories? You were saying you started with like running boards and stuff. Do you guys still do anything like that, or is it mainly
No,
gear?
unfortunately not. I wish.
just all clothing?
Yeah, it's all clothing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It is all clothing.
I want to be respectful of your time. I don't know if they just walked over here to look, or are you on a schedule? Are you?
Oh no,
Okay.
I'm not on a schedule.
Okay.
Honestly, this might be more of a problem for you guys because I can be talking all day.
No, you're good. No, you're good. Jeff, did you have
Yeah.
any ideas?
Yeah, I want to know about the inspiration behind the name.
Okay. Yeah.
You guys
The
didn't
name.
talk about that, right?
Yeah,
No, we haven't.
That's a great
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. How'd you come up with the name?
Yeah. So the name today doesn't mean anything. It's just a four-letter word.
Yeah.
But and the reason why I emphasize that is because mind you, this is 20 years ago, and I just needed a name. So I took the two first letters of my name, to Tomas
Yeah.
Berntsson, so TOBE.
Ah. Okay. That's
So,
cool.
but I never ever mention that because I don't want people to.
How did you think of that? How did you even
Well,
think of that?
It's
Kodo.
It's
That would be mine, Kodo.
It's super smart, but also at the same time, it's super simple. Like, you obviously know your name really well, and so I mean that.
Was there like because marketing strategy behind that? They say that like all big companies are four-letter companies. It's catchy. It's easy. You look at like Nike and Kraft.
Yeah.
All big
Kraft is
companies
fine.
are for whatever. You know what I mean? So how'd you like? You seriously just came up with a TO and a BE?
off your name?
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
That's
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's
legit.
no marketing strategy behind this. I promise you that. It's just, and again, we made running boards, and my only intention was to pay for my snowmobiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had no ambitions whatsoever.
Sure.
That's
So,
awesome.
Then it kind of stuck with us, and
Sure.
we kept it.
Yeah, that's good. That's funny.
You pretty excited of where it's gone? Or
Yes,
where,
I am.
Where you're at now?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm blown away every time I'm. I mean, this morning I went for a jog,
Yeah.
and this truck drove past us and had a what do you call them, bumper sticker?
Yeah.
With TOBE. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, do you see that?
That's cool.
Running with one of my colleagues. like,
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Seriously, we're on the other side of the planet, and
Yeah.
someone decided to put a.
That's gotta be
Hey.
so cool.
Yeah, it is.
Being in
st-
another
I s-
country and you're just like, dude.
I'm still blown away by little things like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's humbling.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What does your family think about you coming over here and traveling and stuff? They gotta think that's pretty cool. Yes and no.
Well, the family, as in, well, I have a wife and two kids, and well, they're definitely not that. How do you say? Impressed with that. They
Okay.
need me to be at home more,
Okay. Gotcha.
do homework, and help with homework, and fix
Yeah.
things around the house, and not be drinking beer on the other side of the planet as much as I do.
I mean, hey, it's
Dude, you
heydays,
sound
though.
like you live the life, man.
That's so
awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
Honesty is there.
That's good
Love
stuff. How do you? Oh man. How do you say? trying to think. How do you say beer in Swedish?
Öl.
Öl. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Because it's similar to Danish, right? For beer.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Danish is well, we talk about the Scandinavian countries, and that's going to be like Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland, where
Yep.
the culture and the language is somewhat similar. Certainly the culture.
Yeah.
Language-wise, Denmark. I mean, I have to speak English with them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, for the
Okay.
most of the time, but
Okay.
also because I live far away from them, and we have a
Yeah.
different dialect than
Sure.
the Swedes in the south has.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
Finnish is obviously completely different. I wouldn't understand a word.
Yeah.
a word.
Yeah.
But yeah, Denmark is a very cool place, and
Yeah.
we look at them as our like they're more like Europeans than we are,
Okay. Sure.
and they think they're cooler than we are.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard. So I've got family there that lives just outside of Copenhagen, and I tried learning some Danish, and listening to it on my phone and trying to repeat it and then talking to them a little bit. It's a really hard language to get through.
Yes, that's all I can say.
But a lot of them speak English, so you were able to get by pretty
Yeah.
easily. But and there was my first time going over there. I was pretty. It's definitely, the culture is like way different. And
What did you notice?
We might have to edit this out of the podcast, but
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tyler with SledSend. Wanted to take a second of your guys' time and ask for your guys' support for what we're doing with the brand of SledSend. So if you guys are enjoying, the podcast episodes with all the different guests, the tour videos and such, check out SledSend.com. We have a variety of different merch. Every order comes with air fresheners and stickers. And like I said, we appreciate your guys' support. We need it to continue to do this. And without further ado, let's get into the video.
the culture with girls
Uh-huh.
is different. So one thing that they were telling me was like, typically, like if you go out to a bar, it's not very normal to just like go up to a girl and talk to her. You need to be like introduced through like a mutual friend.
Yeah.
But then I also, we'll probably have to edit this part out. But so
You should keep it.
so, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but within the Danish culture, like girls, like hooking up before you get into a relationship is like really, really common because, if the hookup is bad, they don't want to be in a relationship and then find that out later.
Yeah.
But then I also heard that like the Swedes kind of look down on that a little bit. The Danish, there's more like free, or is that not the case? Or
Well, I mean, I've been with my wife for 20 years now, so
Okay.
I can't say that I'm the most knowledgeable person in
Sure.
dating culture.
Yeah.
But I think in general, women in Scandinavia and maybe Sweden especially, like they're extremely independent,
Yeah.
and so that's probably true.
Yeah.
And what you said about being introduced, I think I notice also like huge differences in culture.
Okay.
And Americans are known to be loud and take up a lot of up a lot of room. And
Loud and fat.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. But I mean,
That's what
you're
he's
more
thinking.
typically more straightforward. You're
Yeah.
not afraid of walking up to someone and talking.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's a girl in a bar or people talk to me in ways here that would never happen at home.
Well, so maybe this is an
We
example.
got that dog in us.
So like over there is really common here, but like just like walking through the grocery store, if you like walk past somebody and like make eye contact, you're like, hey, what's up? How's it going? And then just keep walking, and you guys like don't do that. Really over
Absolutely not.
there. Yeah.
Like never.
And that was so.
So what
weird
do you
to me.
guys do? You
But-
just like
so
we
there.
don't even look each other in the eye.
head
Yeah,
down,
so-
just
Oh yeah.
on
So
your
what
own
they
path?
what they said, which makes a lot of sense, because like for us, when we do that, it's just like small talk, right? It's not like we actually genuinely care on how the other person's doing. It's just like you just say it for
to
like
break
a small
the awkwardness.
yeah, to break
silence.
the awkwardness. And the way they explained it to me was like, that's not even worth speaking if you're not going to have a genuine
Like
conversation.
wasting
So
it.
they that was a
I
shock to me.
100% agree, and for me it was a shocker coming here, and like the small talk that you mentioned.
Yeah.
For me, that's someone trying to engage in a serious conversation about someone. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying. I make an effort in trying to say something back to this person
Yeah.
who probably couldn't care less about what I have to say.
Yeah.
So yes, that's a huge difference. And we don't look each other in the eye.
That's how I
No, we
noticed
wouldn't
when
do
I
that.
had a
Yeah, that's interesting.
I had a foreign exchange student I was really close with back in high school, and I remember like there'd be times where people come up and like they'd say something really quick to him about like good game or good job or something, really quickly, and he'd always say, why did they say that?
Yeah.
Why
Where
did
was
they?
he from?
Yeah, he's why did they need to say that? Switzerland.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was really cool. Nicholas Diaz Martin. I don't know if you're watching this out there, but yeah, he was from Switzerland. He was a cool guy. But same type of deal. He's always like, why are people approaching me and saying that? Why did they say that? Because he's like, he didn't fully understand, and I'm like, I don't know. They're just telling you good game. To us, it's normal, but then you notice over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting thing. That was a culture shock for me because it was so everyday, and they're like, "Nah, we don't do that." I was like, "Okay."
No, you're way better at that here.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of it, but I feel like I'm reacting the same way every time, like expecting an actual conversation when someone starts talking to me. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't want the conversation to begin with because it's awkward. But then I'm making an effort to, answer them, and that's also awkward.
Yeah. Sure. That's funny. Jeff, do you have any other takes sitting over there? No. Kobe, you got anything?
I think I beat him up with questions pretty good. I don't know.
Was there any other
Tried.
points that you want to make that maybe we didn't discuss that you want to bring to the attention of the listeners, or?
I enjoyed this. We could be sitting here for hours. I care. But
Just need some more beer.
yeah, we need some more beer.
I know. My
Like,
mouth's getting kind of
Water is not going to cut it. To be honest.
We got him that, and he's not liking that taste for it.
Yeah.
We'll cut the camera off. We'll go grab a beer after this.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, no, I don't know what to add. I mean,
Okay.
this is all interesting. We talked about a lot of things that I usually I don't think we ever talked with anyone about really.
Well,
so
cool. Well, I
Well, that's
appreciate you
good.
sharing a lot of stories and stuff. So one thing, two more things actually. So at the end of every single episode, we always have our guest ask a question to the listeners and viewers, and then we clip it and post it on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff. So we have you. Is there something that you would like to ask the listeners and viewers? It could be broad about snowmobiling. It could be something specific about TOBE gear versus a different gear, or your favorite TOBE piece, or it could honestly be about
It can be-
anything. Have you ever ridden in Sweden before? Like, it could be whatever
you want.
whatever comes to mind that you would like to ask the listeners and viewers to answer. Putting you on the spot.
yeah, you're definitely putting me on the spot. I feel like I shouldn't waste an opportunity like this with something as shallow as talking about my own products. I don't think that would be fair. But you're also making it very difficult for me now.
That's okay.
I know.
Are you cutting anything here? Editing? Can I make a pause? No. I'm supposed to come up with this immediately.
Yeah, you can make a pause.
I'm kidding.
So
We could even have him sign this while he's thinking about it.
The second thing, while you're trying to think of a question, so we started doing this just recently. This was our banner that hung in our wall in our studio, and so we started having our guests sign it. So if you could do us the honors of giving us your signature on this anywhere you want. There's two different Sharpies right here. If you want to write in the black, use the gray or white on the white with the
Absolutely.
black one. That would be awesome. If
You have to
would.
tell me who these people are.
So this is Smasher. His name is Chris Kaltenbacher.
Okay.
He's been in the game for a long time. He was in like a lot of the Boondocker movies.
Uh-huh,
Have you ever
yeah.
seen those?
Yes.
And
Well, them,
then
actually.
he raced in the Iron
Iron
Dog
Dog.
last year as an ambassador.
Uh-huh.
And then he's doing it again this year. This one is Kobe's.
That's
There
me.
you go.
And then that one over there is Frank. He owns Carbon Pursuit. So they make like carbon fiber rail braces and a
He
lot
was
of
that
different
kid that came out of here
Ah,
before
okay.
you.
yeah, right
hopped
before
on.
you. And then we've got a girl, Hannah. She's local to kind of where we live. And then another girl, Maddie. So we just started doing it, so we don't have very many on there. So
It's a season 3 banner.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So anywhere you want,
It'll be an honor. I'll
yeah.
definitely sign for
well,
sure.
it's an honor for us too. That'd be awesome.
Heck yeah.
But
All right, so my question.
Okay.
Alrighty.
You would think that it's going to be a really good one now that I thought about
It
it.
is.
so
It's
long.
going to be really good.
No,
I
it's
feel
gonna.
it.
Out of what is your dream place to go and explore? Like, what country or what region? Like, where would you want to try it in snowmobile?
the ultimate dream.
The
location.
ultimate dream.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that is.
I don't even know if I have an answer to that.
Well, so listeners and viewers, comment below. Let us know your dream destination or location that you guys would like to go to.
What's yours, Tyler?
I feel
like don't we have to pop a answer?
So outside of the U.S. and Canada, my three is Sweden, Russia, and Japan. Those are like my three.
I'll show you
locations.
around in Sweden if you get there.
Yeah, that's a deal.
Well, looks like Sweden it is next season.
Have you been to any like odd places?
On a snowmobile?
Yeah.
No. No, just here
Canada
locally in
would've
the
been
U.S. Him and I went to Revelstoke last year. That was my first time. That was your first time too.
Yep.
Yeah, it was our first time outside
I'm
of the
sure
country.
it sucked.
Oh, it was terrible. No, it was incredible.
Yeah, it
It
doesn't
was
get
really
much better
cool.
than that, to be
No,
honest.
Yeah.
they call it the snowmobile capital of the world for a reason.
I can understand why people go to Revelstoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Beautiful country
But-
up there.
What about you? Obviously,
Yeah, what would
you
be
get to
yours?
live in Sweden. So what's like place that you haven't been yet?
Or is there a place you've already been where that's heaven to you and you made it?
Well, I came to Revelstoke the first time in 2005, probably.
Okay.
And that is the coolest place that I've been to so far.
Okay.
Or let me rephrase that. It's the best snowmobiling that I ever had.
Okay.
And but I also had amazing snowmobiling in other places, well, both in Canada and the United States. So, but I really like Revelstoke also because of a bunch of really cool people that I got to know over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also been in other like odd places. I've been in Andorra, which is a tiny country on the border between Spain and France.
Okay.
I mean, it's a miniature country
Okay.
that allows snowmobiling, which is kind of unique for Central Europe.
Sure.
So there's not a lot of snowmobiling outside of Sweden and Finland and a little bit of Norway that you can do in Europe.
Yeah.
But there are places in like this place, like kind of secret hidden away place.
Yeah.
It's very cool, like
Okay.
high elevation.
Okay.
And I've been in Italy.
wow.
This one city allows for snowmobiling, like backcountry
Really?
snowmobiling. Like one city only.
Yeah.
And that was epic. Good riding, really good riding. Plus, being in Italy with the food and the
Oh,
culture
man.
and everything,
Yeah.
like and
Italy's awesome.
yeah, and it was a big drive to get down
Man,
there
oh, man.
from where I live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, that ranks very high on my
Sure.
list of
That might be my new
places that I've
Eating
been
pasta at night and
Yeah.
riding all day.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been to Venice and then Positano, so I spent some time there. One of the trips, we went to Copenhagen first for a few days, and then went and hit those spots. The food is just,
Yeah,
oh my
it's
God,
amazing.
it's incredible. But I had no idea that you could ride a sled in that one location.
Most people don't. I had no
Yeah,
idea until
no.
I got there either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely encourage people to go and explore more. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things out there.
Places like that, I guess, is that somewhere where you have to hook up with like a tour guide to go there, or is it more
I
you
think
need to know somebody there, or
probably need to figure out someone that takes you around a little bit. I don't think there are tour operations in that sense. It's too small and it's too
Yeah.
unexplored for that.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but then again, everyone that we met were like they don't have a lot of visitors at all. So for snowmobiling at least. I mean, so they were super excited to take us in and show us around and
Yeah.
let us be a part of like the local
That's cool.
Local crew.
Sure.
So it was a huge experience for that reason. If I would have been there just simply as a tourist with no access to everything else that happens, then it wouldn't have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Now I got to hang out with the locals, get to go to the same restaurants, and get to see all these other things than the mountains. So yeah, that was amazing.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah. Well, cool. Do you have any last things? No, good on everything. Kobe, you have anything left to?
I'm pretty solid on that. Yeah.
That was a really good episode. You
Yes, it
shared a
was.
lot of really cool stuff. No, I
Very good
really,
information.
Yeah, I appreciate you jumping on. Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is
Pretty
good.
unreal.
This is
Pretty
fun.
unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. We'll go ahead and wrap up this episode. SledSend listeners, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're listening on the audio platforms or if you are watching on YouTube, consider dropping a subscription. That helps us a ton. So appreciate you guys being here, and we'll catch you on the next one.